My dear students and viewers, I take this opportunity to welcome you back to this program, Teacher One Insights. Now today we want to discuss about international relations. I want to inform you that the topic international relations is one of the key topics that is commonly being said in paper 2, history and government. Now for today we want to look at the meaning of international relations. Now we can be asked, give the meaning of international relations. 1 mark. International relations refers to a cooperation or interaction between individuals or groups of nations of the world. It also refers to a state where sovereign nations from different continents of the world interact politically, economically, and socially, forming organizations. Now, let's have a look at the levels of international relations. To my dear students, I want to tell you that there are 4 levels of international relations. Now, we may be asked, state or describe 3 levels of international relations, 3 marks. Now, the first one is political relations, 2 diplomatic relations, 3 economic relations, and 4 socio-cultural relations. Now, from those 4 levels of international relations, we may be asked a question in any of them. For instance, we may be asked, state 2 factors which promote economic relations between nations. 2 marks. Now, my dear students, these are the factors that promote economic relations. 1, loans given to other nations. 2, offering grants or aids to other nations. 3, trading activities between nations. 4, investment in foreign nations. And finally, debts relief to other nations. Now, let's also have a look at the international organizations. Now, remember, my dear students, that after the First and the Second World War, a number of international organizations were formed. Why? To promote political, economic, and social relations among nations. The major international organizations include 1, the United Nations, 2, the Commonwealth, and 3, the Non-Aligned Movement. Now, we want to start by looking at the first international organization that was formed immediately after the Second World War. That is the United Nations Organization. Now, remember, the United Nations or UN is an association of independent states. It was founded to promote and maintain international peace and security. Now, the headquarters of United Nations is in New York, United States of America. Now, this question, we have interacted with it, and now we are also interacting with it. Now, give the body that was formed immediately after the Second World War to promote world peace. 1 mark. The only response is United Nations Organization, or simply you can write United Nations. Now, my dear students, let's also have a look at the aims of the United Nations. Remember, when we are looking at the aims, we are looking at the objectives or the reasons why United Nations was formed. Now, we may be asked, state 2 reasons for the establishment of the United Nations Organization, UNO, 2 marks, or explain 2 aims for the formation of the United Nations Organization in 1945, 2 marks. Now, these are the reasons or the aims. 1, to maintain world peace and security. 2, to promote friendly relations among member nations. 3, to replace the League of Nations which had collapsed. 4, to uphold international law or understanding and cooperation among member states. 5, to prevent the outbreak of another war. 6, to promote cultural cooperation among member nations. 7, to promote fundamental human rights and freedom. 8, to promote social progress and improve the standards of living for the people. 9. To promote economic reconstruction of member states after the war. And finally, to protect the interests of marginalized groups such as women and children. Now, my dear students, let's also have a look at the organization of the United Nations. Remember, when we are looking at the organization of United Nations, we are going to look at the organs. Now, the organs of United Nations are 7 in number. But we also have the principle or the main organs. The main organs are 6. Now, we may be asked, give 2 principal organs of United Nations 2 marks, or identify 5 main organs of United Nations 5 marks, or name 2 principal organs of United Nations 2 marks. Now, the correct response for the principal or the main organs of United Nations are 1. The General Assembly, 2. The Security Council, 3. The Secretariat, 4. The International Court of Justice, 5. The Economic and Social Council, 6. The Trusteeship Council. Now, my dear students, I want to inform you that we may be asked a question from any of the organs that we have just identified. Remember that we have identified the 6 main organs, but as I have said, there are 7 organs of the United Nations, and the 7th one, I am saying that it is the specialized agencies. Now, let's have a look at each of the organs that we have mentioned. 1, we want to have a look at the General Assembly. Now, we may be asked, what is the main duty of the United Nations General Assembly? 1 mark. The only response is it maintains peace and security through disarmament and arms regulation. Now, we may also be asked to also identify other functions of the General Assembly. Now, we may be asked, explain or describe 6 functions of the General Assembly of the United Nations. 12 marks. When we are asked to give 6, my dear student, write 6 response. Don't write many. Now, these are the functions. 1, it maintains peace and security through disarmament, arms regulation, and applying sanctions to countries at war. 2, it makes recommendations within the scope of the UN Charter which may affect powers and functions of the UN organs. 3, it admits new members, suspends and or expels members of the UN. 4, it receives reports from Security Council and other UN organs. 5, it makes recommendations on peaceful settlement on issues and situations that threaten world peace. 6, it elects the non-permanent members to the Security Council. 7, it considers and approves the UN budget besides apportioning members their contributions. 8, it promotes higher standards of living through enhancement of socio-economic well-being. 9, it discusses questions relating to international peace and security outside at the Security Council. 10, it elects judges of the International Court of Justice jointly with the Security Council and also appoints the Secretary General. 11, it makes recommendations that promote political cooperation and international law. 12, it facilitates the realization of human rights and fundamental freedom. 13, it investigates disputes that may disrupt world peace. 14, it promotes peaceful resolution of disputes through mediation and arbitration. 15, it may initiate military action against the aggressors. Now, those are the functions of the General Assembly. Now, let's go to the second organ, which is the Security Council. Now, my dear students, I want to tell you that Security Council is made up of the permanent members and also non-permanent members. Remember, non-permanent members get elected by the assembly, and the permanent members are 5 in total. Now, we may be asked, state 3 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, 3 marks, or identify the permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, 2 marks. Now, these are the permanent members of the Security Council, and as I have said, there are 5. 1. The United Kingdom or Britain. 2. United States of America. 3. France. 4. China. And 5. Russia. Now, in the Security Council, there's a term that is being used, and that term is referred to as veto power. Now, we can be asked to give the meaning of veto power. Now, this is the question. What is veto power as used by United Nations? 1 mark. A decision cannot be adopted if any of the permanent members of the Security Council votes against it. It means if one permanent member votes no, then no decision can be made. So, my dear student, that is the meaning of veto power. Now, we can also be asked a question on the Security Council revolving around the function. Now, what are the functions of the Security Council of United Nations? 3 marks. 1. To investigate any dispute or any situation which might lead to a dispute. 2. To investigate any situation threatening international peace. 3. To recommend procedures for peaceful resolution of dispute. 4. To regulate the production and use of dangerous arms such as nuclear bombs. 5. It may also decide what the military action may be taken against aggressors. 6. To call upon members to apply for economic and diplomatic sanctions against any state which the Council has found guilty of breach of peace or act aggression. Now, let's have a look at the third organ, which is the Secretariat. Now, remember that the Secretariat is the main administrative organ of United Nations. And remember that the Secretariat is headed by Secretary General. Now, again, Secretary General, as we have said earlier, that also gets elected by the General Assembly. Now, we may be asked, my dear students, that state 2 duties of the United Nations Secretariat, 2 marks. The correct responses: 1. Register treaties of the United Nations. 2. Publishing reports of UN deliberation. 3. To interpret speeches or translate documents into UN's official languages. 4. Implements the UN resolutions and policies. 5. To bring to the attention of Security Council any issues that threatens international peace. 6. To monitor peacekeeping missions and mediate international disputes. 7. To monitor human rights issues and sustainable development. 8. To hold conferences on international issues. 9. To promote world awareness of global trends and human rights. 10. To conduct research or survey and economic trends and social problems. Now, let's also have a look at the other organ, which is the International Court of Justice. Remember, my dear students, that it is the judicial organ of the UN and it is based at Hague in Netherlands. Now, when you are asked, name the organ of the United Nations that promote justice in the world, 1 mark. The only response that you need to give at this point is the International Court of Justice. Now, my dear students, we also want to have a look at the other organ, trusteeship council. And that trusteeship council, basically it was established in order to look at the decolonization of the countries that had got colonized. Now, to my dear viewers, let's have a look at the specialized agencies. Now, we may be asked, discuss the main role of each of the following specialized agencies of the United Nations. 12 marks. Remember, this question was set in the year 2021. Now, the first agency, specialized agency, is the World Health Organization. WHO. Now, remember that the World Health Organization has its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. Now, the main role is it promotes health in the world by fighting or preventing spread of disease. 2, we also have the International Monetary Fund, IMF, which is based or has headquarters in Washington, D.C., in the United States of America. Its main role, it stabilizes currencies of different countries in the world through short-term loans. The third agency is the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. It has its headquarters in Paris, France. Its main role, it is to promote education, science, cultural activities in the world through research and sponsorship. The fourth agency, it is Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. It has its headquarters in Rome, Italy. Its main role is to promote food security by coordinating programs which enhance food production in the world. The fifth specialized agency is United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, has its headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya. It promotes conservation of environment. The sixth specialized agency is the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. It deals with the needs of refugees. It can provide shelter or resettlement of refugees. Remember, we also have other specialized agencies such as, 1, we have the International Labour Organization, and at the same time we also have United Nations Children Fund. Now, we may be asked a question on any of those agencies. For instance, we may be asked, name 2 agencies of the United Nations Organization which deals with the problem of health. The only response here is the World Health Organization and United Nations Children's Fund, or you can write United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF. Now, my dear students, we have come to the end of this lesson for today. I would request you to subscribe and like it so as to get more of this. Otherwise, thank you. Be blessed.